Okay. Setting myself up on my pre-recorded podcast as well. And I'm going to double check my live Twitter feed before we start the show officially. I would like to apologize for being a little late with you. Make sure I look all shiny. There I am. I'm live. Okay, so I will shut off the Twitter feed. The reason why I'm doing this live Twitter show is because of North Texas Giving Day. It is now 10:22 p.m. You can see this is my home studio. This is where I do live podcasting. I record it and put it on. We're going to do it live to all of my social media channels very soon. To be frank, I have to get my cable plan bumped all the way up and get an Ethernet directly in here that I'm good to go. Then we're going to go live at least 4 nights a week, maybe even 5. The other thing I wanted to say, people say all the time, I miss your show and stuff like that. I am on all the time on stations all over the country and even networks. I fill in Dallas for Mark Davis, my friend. I fill in Chicago, Houston, Phoenix, Philadelphia, Charlotte, San Antonio just the other day. So you can watch me live or listen to me live. Just follow me on all my social media feeds. I'll announce when I'm filling in all the time. And then this podcast is every day, Monday through Friday, usually Monday through Thursday at least. But I wanted to say this. The reason I'm doing this show tonight live on Twitter and pre-recorded is because this is for North Texas Giving Day. You guys know I'm huge on North Texas Giving Day. I'm sitting here in Dallas-Fort Worth where I live, my home, where my children are and my wife is, at 10:23 at night because we have 1 hour and 37 minutes to achieve our goal. I in between my radio and television films, I do a lot of work with Salem and Salem News Channel on television. But in between all my work, I work with Thrive Counseling Services to raise money. And what it's for is it's biblically based counseling for women who have been sex trafficked, women who have been sexually assaulted, women who are coming out of incarceration or homelessness. It gives them the ability to realize that they are loved by Jesus, biblically based licensed counseling, and we rebuild their lives. And it's a beautiful thing. It empowers women to say, I didn't do anything wrong. It's not my fault. I am a victim. So you're literally giving biblically based counseling for women who are victims of sexual assault, sexual trafficking. So please donate to Thrive. And for those watching on the video podcast that's not live on Twitter, but on video, you can give by going right here. Let's see. I want to make sure I got the right one here. You can scan the QR code, or you can just donate by Googling North Texas Giving Day and type in Thrive Counseling Services. Just Thrive Counseling is fine. Or you can text Thrive 99 to 53555. That's Thrive 99 to 53555. Let's get into the live show, though, on Twitter that I promised. Jimmy Kimmel is sitting at home tonight. He is not on the air, and he's there because of his own fault. Because Jimmy Kimmel lied to the country and said that the gay accused terrorist murderer of Charlie Kirk is MAGA. He knew that it was not MAGA. He knew the governor of Utah, Spencer Cox, gave a press conference on Sunday saying he was a left-leaning and that the bullets said anti-fascist, catch this fascist, and Ciao Bella Bella Ciao, which is an anti-fascist song. So he knew, and we all knew, that the accused terrorist killer, gay man who sits in prison was left, and he still lied to the world. And here's what he said. You can hear it here. I'll play it for you. Most of us have heard it by now, but here it is.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
So Jimmy Kimmel lied. And Jimmy Kimmel, what's going to shock the crap out of you, this is unbelievable. Jimmy Kimmel was going to come on the air Wednesday night, and people think, oh, was he going to apologize? Was he going to admit that he was wrong? Was he going to, admit that what the world knows is false? No, he was not. Jimmy was going to double or triple down. This from the Wall Street Journal exclusively, and then I'm going to play a soundbite in just a second. Jimmy Kimmel had planned to address the comments from the FCC Chairman Carr on his show Wednesday night. Before his on-air appearance, Dana Walden, co-chair of Disney Entertainment, spoke to the host about his plan. She and other senior executives, including Bob Iger, obviously, thought the star's approach could make the situation worse. Kimmel was planning to say that his words were being purposefully twisted by some members of MAGA. So he was going to double and triple down and tell us that the reason why he's been pulled and the reason why there's all this controversy is because MAGA twisted his words. You just heard his words. He lied and said the accused terrorist, leftist, gay guy is MAGA. So he lied. And when you have a broadcast, actually, before we even get into the FCC and broadcast license, let me also play this for you. This was also one of the reporters talking about Bob Iger and Jimmy Kimmel. Bob Iger is the head of Disney, which owns ABC.
Jimmy wanted to go on his show last night, and in his monologue, I hear that he wanted to address the backlash from the right regarding his commentary about Charlie Kirk's charged killer. And I hear that that monologue was very hot. It very much took aim at MAGA, and that is when the executives said, we can't have him go on the air tonight.
So he lies about it's MAGA, and then he lies that MAGA twisted his words. This guy is just a bald-faced liar, and he's been called out. I think that some of the analysis that others have said is correct. It's all it is that Jimmy Kimmel is in this bubble. He doesn't apparently read news from other outlets, and he's either lying or he's completely ignorant. Either way, he should correct the record, and he won't. Now, this is not the FCC's decision. This is twofold. This is the affiliates. 80% of all of Jimmy's affiliates have yanked him. You cannot sustain a show where the host gets $6 million a month and lose 80% of your affiliates. You cannot do that. So number one, this is about a free market society and consumers being offended and PO'd, and the owners of the stations, which by the way, it's all about local ownership with the FCC. Now, the other thing is, too, some people are, including in my industry, people I used to work with here in Dallas-Fort Worth at the old radio station I was at, that people are so grossly ignorant. I had people tell me that the FCC regulates, at my old work here in Dallas, that the FCC regulates social media. I'm like, oh, my gosh, dude, you have to be an idiot. The FTC, Federal Trade Commission, regulates social media. The FCC has no power on anything online. The only thing the FCC regulates is broadcast. And broadcast, the reason why is the Supreme Court decades and decades ago, ruled that you cannot stop the airwaves from coming into your home. Therefore, the government needs to regulate it. Just like a billboard you drive by on the highway, there's no obscenity on there. If there is, it's regulated also by the government because a child can see that. And so the FCC regulates television and radio that's broadcast, which is why people really don't know what they're talking about. If they talk about this, the FCC should go after Fox News or CNN or MSNBC or Comedy Central. These are not regulated by the FCC. Yeah, you could say obscene things. The FCC has no power over cable. It's not broadcast. Hello. Okay? Now, but this is ultimately not about the FCC. It's about ownership. And the ownership of 80% of the affiliates does not want to air Jimmy Kimmel because he lied about the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and he wants to double down and further lie. It's unbelievable. This guy is just whack. So his words have caught up with him. Now, I took a list. There's two companies, as you know, that have said we're no longer going to carry Jimmy. Sinclair is one of them. Sinclair actually said we would consider bringing him back if, this is great, I love this. Sinclair says we won't lift the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel Live unless Jimmy Kimmel issues a direct apology to the Kirk family. Furthermore, Sinclair asked Mr. Kimmel to make a meaningful personal donation to the Kirk family and Turning Point USA. Amen. He's not going to do that. Now, the other one is Nexstar, and Nexstar owns tons of television stations. They're like the number one owner of television stations in America right now. Now, just to give you an example of how many millions of people that Sinclair alone has yanked from Jimmy Kimmel's viewership. These are all the stations. Now, you're looking at dozens and dozens and dozens of stations. Now, I'm only going to share with you the ones I highlighted, which are in markets where you have almost a million or a couple of million. So you're looking at around 1 million to 3 million people in these markets that have now been yanked. Connecticut, Hartford, Augusta, Georgia. Hartford, Connecticut's got about 1.5 million. I don't know, about 1 million. Augusta, Georgia, probably about 800,000, 600,000. Rockford, Illinois, about 600,000. New Orleans, Louisiana, you got 1.2 million, maybe at least. Grand Rapids, Michigan, almost 1 million. Albany, New York, almost 1 million. Syracuse, same thing. Youngstown, Ohio. Erie, Pennsylvania. Knoxville, Tennessee, about 800,000 or 900,000. Nashville, Tennessee, 1.6 million at least. Salt Lake City, about 2 million to 2.5 million. Salt Lake City. Richmond, Virginia, over 1 million. So those are just some of the ones I highlighted out of all the dozens. So you can't sustain the show. Second of all, if you're watching me on my pre-recorded podcast where I have video control, I'm going to show there is I have the ratings. They're absolutely abysmal. Jimmy Kimmel's ratings are horrible. If you look at the 3 late-night shows, The Tonight Show, The Late Show, and Jimmy Kimmel Live, Jimmy Kimmel's the worst out of all 3 of them. So he only has about 1.7 million viewers, which is absolutely nothing for a network show. I mean, consider this. I mean, Dallas-Fort Worth has 7 million people. Los Angeles has 11 million people. New York City has 14 million people. Chicago has about 9 million people, and you got 1.7 million people. I'm not including Miami, D.C., just Milwaukee. Just think of all these cities all over the country. He's got very little viewers. So they're not making money like they could with a more successful show. It's a good excuse for Disney to fire him. And apparently, by the way, talk about the cancel culture. Look at all the different things that have been canceled. Roseanne Barr. She said today that former President Hussein Obama, Mr. and Mrs. Hussein Obama, actually personally called and lobbied ABC to fire her. And now Mr. Hussein Obama is talking about cancel culture? Isn't he the one that tried to shut down the Tea Party with the IRS? So much garbage on the cancel culture. I also want to do this. We have celebrities, the left flipping out. I love this. We also have conservatives talking. Roseanne Barr says, yeah, imagine an administration putting pressure on a television channel to fire a comedian they didn't like. Sound familiar? And here we go. I'll pop off one of my many infamous sound effects. Here we go. Hello! Speaking of humor, Johnny Carson explains to you, I'm sure you've heard this by now, but it can never be played enough. Johnny Carson explains why he never did politics. Before I even play this, Jay Leno, who everybody loves, you can't not like Jay Leno. Jay Leno said that he knew he was doing great comedy when people would complain and call him a liberal, and then a week or two later they'd complain and call him a conservative, because he would do things that the left would be mad about, he would do things the right would be mad about, but he never did it about politics. That's comedy. The comedy that we're talking about today with like Jimmy Kimmel, Seth, whatever that guy's name is, all these people, it's all, I hate Trump and Republicans, let's make comedy. Saturday Night Live's been accursed by that foolish decision. I hate Trump, let's make comedy. Let me play you Johnny Carson. Before I play Johnny Carson, I want to say this. The only reason that I'm doing this show tonight, a series of shows tonight live, is for North Texas Giving Day, for a group that provides biblically based counseling services for women who are victims of sex trafficking, sexual exploitation, who are coming out of incarceration, and who are homeless. The Bible-based licensed practicing counselors. It is a non-for-profit. It's called Thrive Counseling. I raise money for them in between my radio and television fill-in, so I would like for you to do what Mrs. Crock and I have already done. We donated for North Texas Giving Day. Give now. You can give now by just going to North Texas Giving Day's website. Just Google North Texas Giving Day, and then Google Thrive Counseling, okay? North Texas Giving Day, and then Thrive Counseling. If you want, it's on the posts I do on social media. It's right at the top there, so it's linked. Please click that and donate. $5, $20, $100, $1,000, whatever you can do. There's no too small amount because there is a match. We only need $1,900 $1,929. Come on, baby. Let's do it. I want to see that number go up. We only need $1,929. Please donate right now. Go to North Texas Giving Day and type in Thrive Counseling. It's right there. Or on this live post, just click the link I put up there, okay? Or you can text to donate. Text Thrive99 to 53555. That's Thrive99, THRIVE, Thrive99 to 53555. Please, we only need $1,929. We have an hour and 23 minutes. I'm doing this live so I can ask for you to donate. Please. You know, a lot of people have said, Chris, we love you, we miss you on the radio. And my first response is, I am on the radio all the time. I was on in San Antonio a day or two ago. I'm going to be on Chicago for 5 days coming up soon. I was on network radio on 100 radio stations for a whole week from New York 2 weeks ago. I was on in Des Moines, Iowa Friday. So I'm on all the time. Just look at my social media posts. I post every day, all sorts of stuff. And then I post when I have my upcoming radio appearances. You can listen live online. Second of all, this podcast is done almost every day. But if you want to let me know how much if you really want to make me feel good about missing me, please donate. This is going to biblically based counseling for victims of sex trafficking. Just go to North Texas Giving Day and type in Thrive Counseling and donate, please. $1 is great, $5 is great, $20, $100. This is for North Texas Giving Day. It's for a great charitable cause. Donate right now, please. And the link's on the social media post that I'm doing here as well. So please donate. And now let's go to Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson said this decades and decades ago, and it's exactly why Jimmy Kimmel finds himself in the crosshairs and why he's not on the air right now.
Tell me the last time that Jack Benny, Red Skelton, Benny comedian, used his show to do serious issues. That's not what I'm there for. Can't they see that? But you're not. Why do they think that just because you have a Tonight Show that you must deal in serious issues? That's a danger. It's a real danger. Once you start that, you start to get that self-important feeling that what you say has great import. And you know, strangely enough, you could use that show as a forum. You could sway people, and I don't think you should as an entertainer. Tell me the last time that
So there you go. I mean, it's dangerous to have political opinions on a comedy show, he says. Well, that was what Johnny Carson says. What does he know? He's only the greatest late-night talk show host of all time, heretofore. Rob Schneider was on Fox News. I heard this today. I thought he was great. He said, TV shows are not guaranteed in our Constitution. This reminds me of the Dixie Chicks because it was the left that didn't even care about country music that was outraged when country music stations across the country, across America, pulled the Dixie Chicks after they insulted George W. Bush from overseas. And left literally, which didn't give a frog's fat, you know what about country, tried to force stations to play Dixie Chicks music. This is no different. They're trying to force ABC affiliates to carry a guy who lies about the assassination of Charlie Kirk and then wants to double and triple down and go on live and say, MAGA twisted my words. It's unbelievable how whack he is. By the way, there was a report. I'm going to give you some more details, but there was a report that Jimmy Kimmel was at an area in Los Angeles tonight from the Daily Mail that he was parked in an area that is a business area that's filled with tons of lawyers. So, also I just got this. He is tons of moving trucks have showed up and they're moving all this large furniture out of his studio. This has nothing to do with the FCC or President Trump. It has everything to do with Sinclair Broadcasting, what's the other one? Nexstar Broadcasting and ABC. They did these decisions, not the FCC and not President Trump. Ben Stiller wrote, "This isn't right." Rosie O'Donut, this is unacceptable. America is no more. Ah! Now, actor Henry Winkler, everybody loves Henry. I love Henry Winkler, but he's obviously a left-leaning guy, but he's actually still very, very decent and sweet about it, so I can't be mad at him at all. He says, Jimmy Kimmel, his humor, his insights are more important to keep showing us who we are, and he is the most wonderful fellow. Yes, who we are. We all hate Trump. No, but that's okay. The Fonz is always okay with me. Oh, I graduated in 1991 in high school, at Wheeling High School, which is in Chicagoland. I did not know that Charlie Kirk graduated from the same high school I went to. He's class of 2012. I was class of 91. Woo! We're getting old. they are trying to honor him in in Wheeling High School and in District 214. It's exciting when I go on the air in Chicago since that's my hometown, so it's fun to do that with the great Salem station there. But as of Wednesday afternoon, they had a petition of 3,600 signatures to honor Charlie Kirk at the school and at the district. The NFL has a moment of silence for him. They're chanting his name in London, but yet they won't do it in his hometown. What did Jesus say? A prophet is not welcome in his own hometown. That is my line, by the way. I had to be separated from my previous station in Dallas to finally go on in my hometown of Chicago. It's very funny. But I'm going to tell you this. It's a blast filling it in Houston at the Flamethrower KTRH. And for my friend Mark Davis in Dallas and Philadelphia and Charlotte and Phoenix, etc. And for networks. I fill in for Jesse Kelly, too, by the way, on Premier Radio Networks. He's on 220 stations. That's fun. I fill in for Premier's morning show as well on 110 stations. That's fun. So just keep following me, and you'll be able to listen when I tell you to tune in. So here's a couple of notes, too, about the leftists. Progressives lobbied against the conservative Sinclair Broadcast Group's attempted merger with Tribune Media. They bought WGN TV and radio. And the failed Biden FCC nominee Gigi Sohn urged the agency to examine Sinclair's broadcast license. The agency in 2023 opened up public comment on a left-wing petition to deny a license to a Fox-affiliated station in Philadelphia. Disney fired the actress, obviously, what's her name? I can't remember her name now. Famously from Mandalorian, and she came back and she won her lawsuit thanks to Elon Musk, a man she's never met. God bless her for that. NBC pushed out Megyn Kelly for her views. Biden White House urged tech platforms to censor people like you and me for COVID. So the left is all about censorship. So it's rather rich. Now, former President Hussein Obama, who what's her name? From what is her name? I mentioned it a little while ago. Roseanne Barr. She says that former President Hussein Obama and Mrs. Hussein Obama pressured the network to fire her way back when she got canceled. But so here comes this article that former President Hussein Obama tweeted from Yahoo. Let's be clear about what happened to Jimmy Kimmel. So it's a leftist column about this. Kimmel was just taken off the airways because Trump didn't like what he had to say and threatened his employer until they shut him up. Again, these are the same people that wanted to force the country music stations to carry Dixie Chicks. Total BS. And they would force Nexstar if they could. They want to force. Actually, they openly want to force ABC, Nexstar, and Sinclair to carry a product that they do not want to carry, which is un-American and anti-capitalist. They continue without access to Nexstar's 200 stations, covering 39% of the national market, the maximally allowed cap. Kimmel would suffer an enormous ratings blow. Well, he already has crappy ratings, as we know. Shortly after Nexstar's announcement, ABC Disney announced he'd be suspended indefinitely. Stephen Colbert, famously earlier on, predicted that Kimmel was next. Yes, he's next. Oh, funny. Now, I have a bunch of random things. I have several other non-Kimmel stories I'll get to in just a second. I also have a bunch of short things about the Kimmel situation right now. I want to remind you the reason I'm doing this live show is to raise money on North Texas Giving Day. We have an hour and 15 minutes left of North Texas Giving Day. Please donate now to Thrive Counseling. It's biblically based counseling for victims of sex trafficking. Donate now by at the link on the Twitter feed or on the social media posts that you're watching. I'm on several different channels right now live. Just go there, and $5 will be great, $10 will be great, $100. Anything you can do to raise money to help women who have been sex trafficked or victims of that to get biblically based licensed counseling. So go to North Texas Giving Day, type in Thrive Counseling, and donate, please. We only need $1,929 left. All right, so please raise that money right now. And if you want to let me know how much you appreciate me, and if you want to give me some love, then donate. It doesn't go to me. It goes to Thrive, which is biblically based counseling for victims of sex trafficking. David Letterman says Jimmy Kimmel cancellation is companies sucking up to an authoritarian criminal administration. Well, No, that's Nexstar Sinclair at ABC. And they would force Middle America. I read you some of the stations that Sinclair has. And by the way, the whole line that Sinclair and Nexstar uses, it's not in the community's interest. And as I mentioned earlier, I went through why the FCC regulates television and radio, broadcast television and broadcast radio only. And part of the law with the FCC is these licensed stations must act in the interest of the community. Well, if the community doesn't want to watch a man lying about a terrorist, a gay guy who is accused of murdering Charlie Kirk, then they have the right to not want to watch it. And the complaints have been flooding ABC and all these stations and these companies. So, I mean, that's America. Be mad at Americans. They like to cancel us. They consider us annoyances and hindrances. They hate us. You know that. They call us smelly Walmart people, bitter clingers, etc. And I do cling to my Bible. And I do cling to my gun, but my Bible is the main one. I read, today I read Psalms 18, David's cries for victory and thanking God because he won after the 10 years of hunting him and persecution, trying to slaughter him. He won, and God was he kept his hands clean, he kept his heart pure, and God rewarded him, and he gave God all the credit. So I read Psalms 18, and I read Proverbs 18 today. Psalms 18, very lengthy, that one. It was very worthy. It was an awesome read, very inspiring. I had a lot of highlighting today. Jimmy Fallon was at supposed to be at a comedy event today. He canceled it because he didn't want to have to be answering questions about this. But he did make a statement this afternoon. To be honest with you, I don't know what's going on. No one does. Yes, you do. But I do know that Jimmy Kimmel is a decent, funny, and loving guy, and hope he comes back. All right. Jimmy Fallon's somebody I don't have anything negative on. I think he might survive this whole thing, but Seth, whatever his name is he's a goner. He's got to be shaking because he's got the same kind of thing going on. Oh, by the way, just a vile thing that Keith Olbermann said tonight on Twitter. Burned in hell. I tweeted this out. You can see it on my Twitter feed at Chris Kroc Show. That's at Chris Kroc Show. Burned in hell, Sinclair. He wrote alongside Charlie Kirk. Well, we know where Charlie Kirk is, and he's not in hell. It's just a sad way to be, Keith Olbermann. Pray for him. Here's a TV expert, a professor who founded the Blair Center for Television and Popular Culture at Syracuse. He says Seth Meyers is the next late night talk show host to face the axe after Jimmy Kimmel's suspension. I agree with that. Oh gosh, this is great. You know who has said nothing so far? Nothing? The View! The hens on The View have said nothing. Nada. They are silent because they don't want to lose their gigs either. Oh, my gosh. The View has been... ABC News told them, shut up, don't say anything. Because this is customers and backlash. And The View could be next if they piss off America. The View has been accused of purposely avoiding any mention of ABC's suspension of Jimmy Kimmel's talk show after the host failed to address the elephant in the room. Oh, that's what it takes to shut a bunch of nasty old hens up, huh? Okay, here we go. This is from the Daily Mail. I mentioned a little bit of this earlier, but here's the full story. The strain shows on Jimmy Kimmel as he emerges for the first time after the show's shock cancellation. The Daily Mail says, a tense moment, they saw him in his car, in his Audi, as he put his head in his hands. He also was at a Century City location where several law firms are based, which I don't blame him because you're going to need lawyers and probably your agent to figure all this out, obviously. Okay, now we're going to go into several other non-Jimmy Kimmel-related stories that are also important. I want to watch the totals come in. I want you to continue to donate, please, on North Texas Giving Day to Thrive Counseling Services. You can see the link on the social media post there. Just go to North Texas Giving Day, type in Thrive Counseling, and donate, please. We got an hour and 10 minutes, and we need about $1,900. Anything counts. $5, $10, $20. There's a match, that's up there too. Please donate. Or you can text Thrive99 to 53555. That's Thrive99 to 53555. Okay, U.S. judge orders deportation of Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil. Remember Mahmoud Khalil? The Jew hater, the Hamas supporter. Don't ever forget that one of the Jewish Israeli hostages who was released said that they told him, look at what they're doing for us at Harvard and Columbia. They knew exactly who Mahmoud Khalil was. Mahmoud Khalil was printing out Hamas propaganda that was sent to him, and he is a radical Islamist, Jew-hating terrorist supporter. And and by the way, NBC News said that Mahmoud Khalil is being deported. By the way, he has like 25 days left before he's going to be deported. He's got an appeal that he can do. This is what's called due process. His appeal is going through the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in New Orleans, which is a very conservative circuit, and the chance of him getting winning on appeal is basically non-existent. He knows that, and his lawyers know that. So he's out of here. And the judge said you can go to either Syria or Algeria. Woohoo! You get to be in the Islamic nations. You love Islamic nations. You're an Islamic guy, an Islamist. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Enjoy it, my brother. So, but NBC News lied and said he allegedly misrepresented his documentation on his green card application. He didn't allegedly. NBC News lied. The BBC, of all places, reported it correctly. Judge orders deportation of Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil. Judge James Commons, based in Louisiana, said Mr. Khalil willfully misrepresented material facts for the sole purpose of circumventing the immigration process. He lied on his green card application. He hid things that he did because he knew he would be denied. For example, he lied and hid that he worked for UNRWA, the UN agency with lots of pro-Palestinian, pro-terrorist, pro-Hamas people that have been nailed for that. UNRWA is an anti-Semitic pro-terrorist organization that everybody knows that. It's been proven 50 million times over, including recently. Also, he didn't report his continuing employment at the British Embassy in Beirut, Lebanon, among other things. So you lie, you get out of here. Plus, he was acting against the interests of our government by being pro-terrorist and stirring up pro-terrorism sentiment and radicalizing our students on campus. Here we go. This is amazing. Governor Pritzker, J.B. Pritzker, who wants to be our next president in Chicago, Illinois, just 6 days ago, he took a picture. He stood next to a man and took a picture with these so-called peacekeepers in Chicago. They're paid millions and millions of dollars. A lot of these guys are former felons, or in this case, current felons, and they pay them to be peacekeepers working between the police and the thugs to try to appease. And this is the socialist, leftist, anti-police activist answer to fighting crime. And many of these guys, I played you a video about a week or two ago on my podcast, which is available right here, wherever you're watching it, every day. I played you a video of the cops screaming at one of these peacekeepers. He was harassing and yelling at him for how they took a guy down, his pants were half yanked off, and the cops screamed at him and said, "Do you know what he had on his person? He had a handgun with a high-capacity magazine, and he's about to murder us." And he screamed at him in his face. It was dramatic. I played the audio for you. I played the video for you. It was unbelievable. So these are thug lovers. Anyways, J.B. Pritzker posed next to one 6 days ago. That guy has now been arrested for the murder of somebody in a smash and grab stealing Louis Vuittons. They took a truck, probably a stolen truck. They backed up into Louis Vuitton on Michigan Avenue, stole $700,000 worth of Louis Vuitton purses, and then had other getaway cars parked right there. They got in and they left, and they were speeding through red lights going 77 miles per hour on Michigan Avenue. If you've ever been to Chicago, my hometown, where I was born and raised and lived till I was 20-something, Michigan Avenue is the heart of downtown. You're looking at probably a speed limit of 25 to 35 miles an hour max at any given time. They were going 77, blowing through red lights, and they hit a man who was going to Northwestern University before starting paternity leave. It was his last night to work, and he was killed in the crash, and his wife gave birth to their son soon after. 40-year-old murdered by the man that stood next to Governor Pritzker. Governor Pritzker had a press conference and hailed this guy, a peacekeeper. Also, that peacekeeper allegedly has 4 outstanding warrants in 3 other states, including Miami in Florida, for whipping a bottle of Hennessy at a cop car, smashing it, obviously, and then getting tasered by a cop. There's a warrant for that out for his arrest. So this is what the thug-loving Democrats of Chicago and the state of Illinois, Pritzker and Brandon Johnson, want. This is who they are. By the way, give me a second here. I think I should be able to pull up for you and play for you live my my audio. I'm gonna have to move my live camera for a second. Give me a second here because I got to pull up some live audio from Twitter, because this will actually show you what I'm talking about in in Chicago. Hold on one second. I got to scroll down. I'm going to play it for you to be able to hear it because Brandon Johnson literally said that cops are like evil or bad. It's unbelievable what he said. I'm going to play it for him. It's shockingly, horribly anti-police. It's worse than anything that I think he's ever said. This is like the worst thing he's ever said about cops. So I'm going to play this for you in just 1 second. I got to scroll down to it. I didn't pull that yet. Here it is. Okay, here we go. Hold on. This is Brandon Johnson at a press conference today.
The fact of the matter is we are driving violence down on this city, and we're using every single resource that's available to us. Jails and incarceration and law enforcement is a sickness that has not led to safe communities.
Law enforcement is a sickness. So that is the incompetent, corrupt mayor of Chicago. The people took Larry Lightfoot, a.k.a. Beetlejuice, and her wife, Big Bird. That's a term from the folks in Chicago because Larry Lightfoot is like this, and Bigfoot is like a WNBA player. It's unbelievable. It's funny seeing them next to each other. Apparently, I've not seen them next to each other, but that's what I hear. Anyways, they doubled down and went to super incompetent, and it's just rot. Okay. By the way, the reason I'm doing this live show tonight is because of North Texas Giving Day. I'm asking you to donate now for Thrive counseling services. They do counseling for women who are biblically based counseling for women who are the victims of sexual assault, sex trafficking, coming out of incarceration and homelessness. They get the Word of God and licensed practice counselors, and you literally are rebuilding these women's lives and healing them. They come to realize as a young person they were sex trafficked and they think it was their fault. They come to realize I am a victim. They come to get the confidence to ask a judge to get custody of their children. And for the first time, they get their 4-year-old and 10-year-old back. It's beautiful stories. These women's lives are being rebuilt, and they're being built up. And sometimes they have no advocate, and these counselors are their advocates. You are literally blessing women who need to know that they're loved and to be built up in Christ through biblically based counseling. So please donate. We have an hour left. We have 1 hour left. Please donate right now. It's on the Twitter feed, but if you can't see it, just go to North Texas Giving Day and type in Thrive Counseling. North Texas Giving Day, that's an easy one, and then Thrive Counseling and click. Okay? Or you can donate to by texting Thrive99, THRIVE, Thrive99 to 53555. That's Thrive99 to 53555. Continuing on, Trump says the U.S. is trying. Oh, this is great. Trump says the U.S. is trying to get Bagram Air Force Base back from the Taliban in Afghanistan. We're going to get it because Trump knows what we absolutely, and it was never in Trump's plan to ever abandon Bagram. That was Joe Biden and his incompetence. In fact, Joe Biden, by abandoning Bagram Air Force Base overnight, they had thousands of terrorists in the prison at Bagram. Thousands. So it's a $1 billion base. State of the art. They had thousands of terrorists in prison. There were thousands of ISIS and Al-Qaeda prisoners that were freed because of Joe Biden's decision. In fact, the homicide bomber, the suicide bomber ISIS, the ISIS suicide bomber that murdered our 13 troops was freed by Joe Biden to 3 days later kill himself and kill our soldiers and led to that whole disgusting thing at Abbey Gate. Joe Biden freed the terrorists that murdered our soldiers. And Trump was never going to abandon Bagram Air Force Base. We should never have, because the reason why it's perfection is threefold at least. Okay, number one, the only contingency of troops would be behind the wire at Bagram, very safe. 2,500 soldiers is all we need. And every time Al-Qaeda or ISIS pops up anywhere in Afghanistan or anywhere in that region, we go bloop, thwack, and bloop, back to the base. It's that easy. Joe Biden lied and said we have over-the-horizon technology. That's complete BS. I want to say the word, but I won't. Because the drones cannot go all the way out there, and they can't. They go all the way out there from our bases in Iraq or Syria or Doha or all these different areas. But by the time they get there, they can only do surveillance for a couple hours because they're going to run out of fuel, so they have to go back. the drone strikes are nothing compared to what we could have done with our base. Second of all, as Trump said, it's an hour from China where they make their nuclear bombs. So this is a base to take on and eliminate any terrorism out of Afghanistan, anywhere in that region, Iran, anywhere near Israel with all those wars going on, and China. I mean, it's unbelievably important. So he's right. We're going to get it back. I pray to God we do, and you should too. Okay? So God bless Trump for saying that today. I was very, very pleasantly surprised. Kamala! 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 She has her book coming out. She's just beclowning herself more and more. You know, she said Joe Biden was reckless for deciding to run again. She said nothing of the sort when she was running with him, obviously. She claims now the American people were not ready for a ticket with a black woman and a gay man. She says, Pete Buttigieg was my first choice. But being a black woman, she says nothing about being Indian anymore. She's no longer Indian and black. She is now only black, just so you know. Things change. She changes things. But she literally says that her first choice was Pete Buttigieg, but she didn't think you were ready for a gay man because you're such a homophobe, racist, everything that she had to hide her choice and decided to get a white man with this. If you want to talk about somebody who's effeminate, it's Tim Walz. Oh my gosh! And of course, loony that all get out. Can you imagine her as president? I mean, the gross incompetence. That woman is so incompetent. It's just amazing. And then she's like, I was afraid to pick my first choice, which means you're not a leader. You have no leadership capabilities. Donald J. Trump picked J.D. Vance. I actually thought J.D. Vance was the wrong choice. 6 months later or so, I don't know what it was. I was like, yeah, right choice. And now, right choice. Yes. There's some things I have an issue with on J.D. Vance's foreign policy stuff, but it was the right choice. And by the way, Charlie Kirk got J.D. Vance that job. Speaking of Charlie Kirk, you know his wife is taking over. I'll get to that in a minute. Turning Point USA, and I'm very happy and very proud, getting goosebumps just talking about it. Kamala also, the name of her book is 107 Days. That's already implicit saying it's not my fault that I lost. I only had 107 days. So everything about her is victim, not my fault, blame. Hunter Biden was part of the pardoning decisions. Did Hunter do all the pardons? We're going to find out. This just came out today as Jeff Zients, one of the last White House official to testify in the House Oversight Committee's hearing. He's the final Biden official that was pulled in to testify. He says Hunter Biden was involved in discussions about pardons toward the end of his father's White House term. It was a 6-hour behind-closed-doors interview. Jeff Zients told investigators Hunter was involved in some of those pardon discussions and attended a few meetings with the subject with the White House aides. So literally, I think Joe Biden pardoned himself. Maybe that's. I'm sorry. Hunter Biden maybe pardoned himself because Joe Biden didn't know he was pardoning himself. I mean, this is insane. You had a convicted felon and a charged felon doing pardons in the Oval Office. It's wild. It's sick. It's not clear how much say Hunter had in those meetings. The former president issued full and conditional pardon for his son just 2 months before leaving office. That's despite Joe saying he would not ever pardon his son. So that makes me think did Hunter pardon himself with his dad's power? 2,500 commutations on January 17th, days before leading. And we all know that Joe has even said, I don't know this, I don't know that. That's going to need to be investigated a lot more. He also noted that Jeff Zients also noted the president's difficulty remembering dates and names worsened over time, including the administration. I also heard on Fox that he said that Joe Biden had to sleep a lot more in the final year or two. He had to sleep a lot more. Everything had to be booked later. He was sleeping. And they were lying to us saying he was great and he was running circles, including Binder was saying that. Trump administration asking the Supreme Court to allow the removal of Fed Governor Lisa Cook. Remember an appeals court, I think it was, that reinstated her? But hold on. Lisa Cook is that Fed board member who allegedly forged or lied on application for mortgages because you get a lower rate if it's your primary residence. She reportedly or allegedly lied on these applications saying this is my primary residence and this one's my primary residence. Now, the only question the Supreme Court's going to answer, and I do believe they're going to hear this, it's a very simple case. And I want to give a hat tip to my buddy Eric Erickson, a great writer and radio host as well. He said the only thing that matters, and he's an attorney too, the only thing that matters is what the Supreme Court's going to do is they're going to say, can you fire Lisa Cook for something that is, untoward or illegal that happened before she became a member of the Fed board? That is the only question. It's not whether or not that, if it's proven, whether or not that is okay or illegal. It is if it's proven that is an illegal charge. The question is, can you fire her for something she did that appears to be illegal before she was on the Fed? That was not part of when they put her, if it happened on duty, it would probably be, there's basically no question is what I'm understanding. So it's just saying, can the Supreme Court's going to decide, can we fire her for something prior to her being a Fed board member? And I would say yes, because that wasn't found out until she is a member of the Fed. So I think they're going to win that case. Jasmine Crockett, I'm going to let her say it for herself. This is unbelievable. This poor fool who's an attorney, she literally embarrassed herself by accident. Listen to what she said today about criminals. This is so awesome. Listen to her.
I understood what was kind of pushing them there. And so I do want people to know that just because someone has committed a crime, it doesn't make them a criminal. That is completely different. Being a criminal is more so about your mindset. Committing a crime can come for a lot of different reasons.
If you commit just because you commit a crime doesn't mean you're a criminal. It's what your mindset is. So, according to Jazzy Crockett, you can commit crime after crime after crime. It can be a homicide. It can be extortion. It can be rape. As long as your mindset is not that of a criminal, you're not a criminal. Just keep committing crimes. Steal steaks every 3 days and keep having $100 steaks and stuff, and just have the mindset of not a criminal, and you are not a criminal. Thank you, Jazzy. I didn't know that. Rocket scientist. ICE Director Todd Lyons says, here we go, criminal, illegal immigrant, beheaded man in Dallas. These are the animals we're dealing with. Now, I'm sure you saw this because many of you are from Dallas-Fort Worth, where I'd done my show for 15 years until recently. An illegal from Cuba who was convicted of carjacking a woman while he was naked in California, like by Lake Tahoe. They let him go, and Joe Biden said, we can't hold him because he's in Cuba and we can't send him back. So he let him go so that he could behead his boss in Dallas, according to authorities. A Joe Biden illegal, a Gavin Newsom, California illegal that they kept freeing after he carjacked people and all sorts of stuff. Set him free so he could cut somebody's head off. Just vile, sick. Turning Point USA names Erica Kirk, the CEO and chair of the board, following her husband's assassination. I pray that what she said, that you have no idea what you'll unleash. I pray to God that actually what she has said comes true, because you never know. You just never know. She's not Charlie Kirk. The other thing I worry about, and I'm prayerful and I'm hopeful that she's going to be incredible. I don't have any reason to doubt it, but I'm just saying you never know until the person's in the position. So the other thing is, who's going to keep doing his show? And maybe it's her. But what I love is there was a clip I saw Charlie with her on his show, and he said that she said, "Who's more conservative, Charlie or me?" And Charlie, because it was for him to answer, and he said, "You." She's a lot more conservative. He says she makes me look like a liberal. So watch out! She's coming for you. Meantime, you know how South Park pulled a Charlie Kirk episode all of a sudden? Well, the executive producer of Charlie Kirk's live show, and Turning Point USA spokesperson Angel Colvette says, "Put that episode back on now, Comedy Central and South Park." He says he would want the episode back up on Comedy Central. Hey, Paramount Plus, as someone who can speak with some authority on this, authority. He's saying, respect my authority. Charlie loved that he was featured in South Park. Colvette said in a Wednesday Twitter post, "He told me many times he would want the episode back up." So I don't call it X. I hate that name. Colvette was referring to a South Park episode that aired last month titled "Got a Nut," in which the cartoon's Cartman character is seen with hair depicting the Turning Point USA founders and hosting Kirk-style debates events on college campuses. Kirk himself had reacted by expressing excitement over being satirized on the show, calling it a win, and even temporarily changing his profile picture on Twitter to an image of Cartman sitting at a table with a microphone. Yes! Yes! God bless Charlie Kirk and even his death. May God bless him and keep him and everything. Kennedy, who was, of course, an MTV VJ who is now on Fox Business and occasionally is on The Five on Fox, she wrote this column. I predicted Jimmy Kimmel's downfall, but the real reason he got canceled had nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. Where's the joke? She said when what's his name? Jimmy Kimmel lied and said it was MAGA that gay leftist accused terrorist killer murdered Trump Charlie Kirk with. Where's the joke? There was no joke. Well, I'll play it again for you here. It's been a little while since we played it. Here it is again.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
So he lied, and so she said, where's the joke in that? That wasn't a joke. That was a false accusation. It was a lie about the accused murder. On Sunday, the day before he made this joke, Utah Governor Spencer Cox, we all saw that press conference, said it looked like the gunman had a leftist ideology and a transgender lover. Obviously not a MAGA guy, and he knew that. And we know that he engraved on the casings, engraved, Hey Fascist Catch, and Bella Ciao, Bella Bella Ciao, which is a anti-fascist song. So everybody knew he was a leftist, and what's his name chose to lie, Jimmy Kimmel. Also, want to understand why Disney's Bob Iger really canceled Jimmy Kimmel? Mark Halpern, journalist, wrote, it's about affiliate leverage. One of the reasons, he said, is about affiliate leverage, the often ignored force that can bench a network star faster than any C-suite edict. Because the affiliates said no. That's 80% of his affiliates. He's done, and he's not coming back, and he's super PO'd. I shared that with you on yesterday's podcast. All right, so the reason I've done this live tonight so many times on so many different channels, and I'm going to repost this on my other channels pre-recorded, is for North Texas Giving Day. So I ask you, we've got about an hour left here. Please donate to Thrive Counseling. It's biblical counseling they provide for victims of sex trafficking, sexual assault, coming out of incarceration, or homelessness. It's free counseling if they can't afford it. If it's a sliding scale, it's free for people who cannot afford it, and it's rebuilding women's lives with biblically based counseling, licensed practicing counselors. It's a not-for-profit 501c3. This is North Texas Giving Day. They are on North Texas Giving Day. That's why I'm doing this for North Texas Giving Day. Please donate $1, $5, $20, $100, $200. There's just so many great things that I can share with you. I'll close with this. $25 gets one child in play therapy. $100 gets 1 hour of professional counseling. $1,000 gets 1 month of family counseling for a mom and their children. Please heal them through licensed counseling, biblically based. So go to North Texas Giving Day, and then type in Thrive Counseling, and it's right there. Look for the little leaf, and then donate right there. There's a match. We're only about $1,900 short of our goal. Please donate right now before midnight. Thank you very much for watching. You can also text Thrive99, THRIVE, Thrive99 to 53555, 53555. Thrive99 to 53555. God bless you, and thank you for watching. I do a podcast almost every day, and all my social media has my regular appearances. I'm on radio all the time. San Antonio, Chicago, Houston, Dallas for Mark Davis, Phoenix, Charlotte, Des Moines, Iowa. I'm Philadelphia, Buffalo, New York. I'm on in Buffalo sometimes. They loved what I did there, and I love them. It was fun. But that's way out there. I'll see you on the radio soon. Bye, guys.